Hey everyone, as you can see by the title and thumbnail, today's video is about my top 10 favorite games of all time. At any point, this could change, so maybe a year from now I'll do a new version of this video, maybe even like a top 15 favorite games. This list is something I've wanted to make for a while now. I always thought it would be a really fun video, so let's get into it. If you enjoy, drop a like and a comment, it helps the channel, and if you want to stick around, definitely subscribe. Before I start, I will say there are no spoilers in this video, so if you want to check one of these games out, you won't need to worry about spoilers. Starting at the number 10 spot is Telltale's The Walking Dead. Where to begin with this game? Well, at the beginning. You start off the game playing as a man named Lee Everett. You learn you are arrested for murdering the man your wife cheated on you with. Lee and the police officer taking him to prison have a conversation. This kind of introduces you into the conversation / choice-making side of the game, when, out of nowhere, a walker causes the police car to crash. Wake up to find the officer dead and turned. Lee must make his way out of the forest surrounded by walkers. He makes it in the backyard of a house. This is where you meet the game's second main character, and one of my all-time favorite video game protagonists, Clementine.
What's your name?
I'm Clementine. This is my house.
Hi, Clementine. I'm Lee.
Lee is suddenly attacked by Clementine's former babysitter, who is now a walker. Clementine helps Lee deal with this problem, and after he's dealt with this walker, thus begins the adventure and the journey that is Telltale's The Walking Dead. I also played this with my cousin, which definitely added to the experience. It was such a great journey for us to go on together. I cannot stress enough how much I love this game. That theme song always gives me chills and sometimes even makes me tear up a bit thinking of the emotional roller coaster you ride on this game. The Walking Dead universe is one of my favorites of all time, and so naturally I fell in love with this game and the characters. The game doesn't even need the Walking Dead name attached to it. This game is just phenomenal on its own. But the fact that it's in the Walking Dead universe adds to the experience, in my opinion. The character interactions are always so entertaining, especially when you get to choose the dialogue. Making decisions and seeing how it affects the game is such a great part of the experience. When it comes to emotion, this game has no issue punching you right in the gut. If you've never experienced this masterpiece of a game, do yourself a favor and play it. There's even 3 more games to play if you enjoy the first. Moving on to spot number 9, we have Red Dead Redemption 2. What a beautiful game this is in every way. The gameplay, the story, the visuals, the details, all of it combines to make one of the most amazing gameplay experiences I've ever played. I won't say much about this game because I'm sure most of you have played it, but if you haven't somehow, you just need to pick this game up. Set aside a period of time and play the absolute crap out of this game. I played through this game while my grandma watched it and she loved it too. It definitely added to the experience personally, because my grandma just loves like westerns and stuff like that, so this was just a really cool game to play through while she, experienced it with me for the first time. I have absolutely nothing bad to say on the story mode side of things, but when it comes to online, I have a major issue. The game has been absolutely neglected. Red Dead Online is so amazing, and I hate the way Rockstar and Take-Two have treated this game. It definitely deserves better. Regardless though, online is such a blast, especially with friends. A lot of stuff is sadly overpriced, and once you do everything, there isn't much to do, which is the biggest letdown, in my opinion. There's just so much that they could add to keep us entertained, and the last thing I will say is Rockstar, please add the Rockstar editor. I want to make a Western Red Dead series on my channel so badly, and the Rockstar editor would allow me to achieve that. But yeah. This game just needs more content. That is the number one complaint I have about it. It needs more content, but besides that, I love it. Number 8. Terraria. This one I knew had to make the list. I adore this game so much, and it's always such a good game to just sit down and play with friends. I recently got into modded Terraria with my friend Tyler, and my god is it fun. One thing I always love about Terraria though, is even the vanilla version brings so much to the table and provides hundreds of hours of fun. Tyler and I grew up playing Terraria together, and our memories of that game, both distant and recent, are something I will always treasure. I remember back on Xbox 360, we had this huge world with a giant house that we built, and our friend gave us a bunch of modded stuff, and we duplicated so many items and blocks. It was such a good time, and I love the memories we have of that world, although the house was absurdly big, just way too oversized. But if you've never played this game, I highly recommend it. There's so many fun bosses to fight, caves, biomes, and dungeons to explore, and you can build whatever your imagination lets you. Number 7. Borderlands 2. This game was really the first RPG game I ever played. I think it was a nice intro since the skill trees were not that complicated for me as a kid, and it was an FPS game, something I was extremely familiar with. The story is amazing, funny, and a great experience. The characters, both playable and non-playable, are very interesting and goofy. I love almost all of them. The gameplay is addicting, and for me personally, it can be a bit much after beating the game, but overall, the game is just a blast, and it was my intro into the Borderlands series, which is now one of my all-time favorites. Number 6. Grand Theft Auto 5. I won't lie, I got this game when I was far too young, but I don't regret it. It was just such a damn fun game to play with friends. I'll never forget all the amazing memories my friends and I made playing this game throughout the years. Playing all the major updates was always so fun. Most of the fun, however, came from just messing around in free roam mode. And this game deserves a place on this list simply for the fact that, to this day, my friends and I can hop on and just have each other laughing until we cry from all the stupid stuff we do. After 8 years, the game still manages to be so much fun, and that's truly something special to me. The online does have a lot of problems though, specifically when it comes to making money and public servers. You'd think by now people would stop caring, but nope. There are still kids flying around in Oppressor Mark IIs, ruining everyone's fun, bragging about their KD that means absolutely nothing. And I just absolutely hate that in order to do your business stuff such as cargo missions, bunker missions, nightclub missions, and more, you need to be in a public session. My friends and I for the past few years have had a workaround for that. It was the public-private lobby glitch. It allowed my friends and I to do all of our missions without the threat of other players. Here's my biggest issue. Even without the threat of people destroying your stuff and ruining your missions, the game is still an absolute grind. It still takes so much effort to do your missions, even in private sessions. And that wasn't much of an issue since it was better than having to worry about other players. Well, until they patched it. They somehow fixed the glitch, forcing you to either play in public sessions or invite only. And to me, that definitely lowered GTA 5 on the list. I know I'm complaining on what's supposed to be a top 10 favorite games list, and this has obviously made the cut, but I complain because I just love this game so much and hate to see it fail because of dumb issues that Rockstar creates themselves. Briefly talking about the story mode, I loved it, beginning to end. It had me hooked, and it's a shame that story didn't get any DLC. The characters are some of my favorite in all of gaming, and Stephen Ogg in particular gives a hilarious and fantastic performance as Trevor. The story is awesome, and I recommend it highly. This game is just all around a great time, whether it's by yourself in the campaign or with some friends and online doing the various activities there are to do. Now, we've reached the top 5, and I'm sure that many, if not all of you, have played number 5, Skyrim. This game will always hold a special place in my heart, for a few different reasons. One, The game is just amazing. The adventures you can go on is such an awesome experience, and I'm still discovering new things about the game to this day. And it's visually beautiful. I've taken some really good screenshots in this game, one of which is and has been my Xbox background for years. I love video game photography. That's something I do, especially in Skyrim, and I'd love to make a whole separate video about that. Moving on to the second reason of why it's so special to me, it's not just one of my favorite games, it's one of my grandma's favorite games. My grandma and I have shared a love of video games my whole life, and it used to always be her showing me games on the various Nintendo consoles she owned. But Skyrim, that was my first time showing her a game, and she loved it, and so did I. Playing it with her was one of the best and most wholesome gaming experiences I've ever had. Reason 3. It's how one of my closest friends and I even became friends. I met him in another game and we added each other, but never really talked. That was until one day I started playing Skyrim for the first time, and he joined my Xbox party. We started to talk about the game and quickly became friends. We then started talking about, other games, and then we started playing those games, but I'll never forget the times that we could just talk about Skyrim for hours, and he would give me tips on the game and certain quests and just kind of guide me through it since it was my first time playing the game. The only thing that could make Skyrim better for me are a few things. More content, co-op, and just some general bug fixes. Speaking of more content though, I do really enjoy the Creation Club. It adds tons of new really cool features into the game, like fishing. I love that Creation Club stuff doesn't deactivate achievements, essentially making the content more like DLCs than mods. With all that though, I can easily say Skyrim is a spectacular game and very much deserves to be in the top 5. Number 4. Halo 3. Pretty much all the games in the top 5 hold a very special place in my heart, but Halo 3 is just truly special to me. I will never forget the experience I had with this game and its amazing story. The first time I played was when my older cousin's friend brought over his brand new Xbox 360. I fell in love with the first mission and knew I needed an Xbox 360 with Halo 3 as soon as I could get my hands on one. I eventually got one and I beat the game in a few days, and then I replayed it over and over and over again. At that time I didn't have Xbox Live, so the campaign and Forge were really the only things I could play, but I adore both of those. The gameplay to this day is just so fun to me. The badass moments.
Brute ships, staggered line, shipmaster, they outnumber us 3-1.
Then it is an even fight.
All cruisers fire at will. Burn their mongrel hides.
He must have gone to ground.
Roger that, ma'am. We're on him. Kick the door.
Iconic cutscenes.
Tower 1 approach has active AAA. Mayday! I can't control Pelican down! Pelican down!
Brace yourselves, we're going in a little hot!
And an insane amount of emotional scenes.
Ever let her go.
None of it ever gets old. I can't even count how many times I've replayed Halo 3, but I can still replay it and love every moment. I never really got the multiplayer experience that so many people had with this game, but I still feel it deserves top 5 for the outstanding campaign and the fact that for me personally, I can replay this game countless times. It's just got such a high replay value for me. I have another video coming out in the next week or two about my experience with the Halo games, my initial experiences with them, and why I love them. So due to that, I won't linger on the Halo games too much. Number 3. Halo Reach. This game was one of my first games I experienced on Xbox Live, and I loved the multiplayer. I was bad at it, but I didn't care. I just had fun playing against real players on a Halo game for the first time, rather than just playing split screen against cousins or friends. The Forge was a big step up from Halo 3. I spent countless hours just messing around with friends and seeing what I could build. This was also my first experience with custom games. It was and is truly amazing the things the community created back in the good old days of Xbox 360. Speaking briefly about the campaign, it was dark, emotional, badass, and overall super fun. The campaign perfectly captures the desperation and struggle of the Human Covenant War in a way we hadn't fully seen before.
Slip space rupture detected.
Gamma station control, reading multiple pings below the orbital defense
Slip
grid.
space rupture detected.
Yeah, we're picking up anomalies too. Are you reading
Slip
it?
space rupture
Multiple
detected.
covenant signatures.
Slip space
Anyone
rupture
else?
detected.
They're everywhere.
Slip space
Yeah,
rupture
must be
detected.
the whole damn covenant.
Slip space rupture detected.
And I absolutely love that depiction of the Human Covenant War. I genuinely have nothing bad to say about this campaign. All around, this game is truly just a masterpiece to me. The multiplayer progression, the customization, firefight, forge, campaign, all of it is just perfection to me. Number 2, Fallout New Vegas. For a long time, this game held the number 1 spot, and for good reason. One thing I look for in an amazing game is the feeling of complete immersion. I love getting absolutely lost in a game, constantly looking for the next adventure to go on and enjoying every second of those journeys. Fallout New Vegas is the best open-world RPG game I have ever played. Although I had played a few other open-world RPG games, Fallout New Vegas was what truly made me fall in love with them. My only criticisms are the same ones I have with Skyrim. Co-op, especially, would just make for such a grand new adventure in the Mojave Wasteland. I could talk about this game for hours, but I'll save that for another video once I've beaten the game again, and all of its DLC. I truly believe New Vegas deserves its own video, just like a few other of the games on this list. And the only reason it's not number 1 is because, although this game has an extremely high replay value, none on this list have the replayability that the number 1 game has. Number 1, Minecraft. I've heard the question before, if you could only play one game for the rest of your life, what would it be? And this question is what truly led me to the answer of what my all-time favorite game is. I thought about this question, and at first I thought maybe Fallout New Vegas, maybe Skyrim or a Halo game, but then I thought about how those games will, at some point lose their replay value. And I wondered what game truly has almost, if not, infinite replayability. That answer is Minecraft. This game to me is truly a masterpiece in every sense of the word. I can build anything I put my mind to, and there are so many projects you can work on, so many different things you can make. It just makes the game so infinitely replayable, and I can craft my own grand adventures and make some for others. I can also play other people's adventures that they've created. The modding community also adds a lot of value to this game. The modding is just one of the best parts of Minecraft, in my opinion. But even without modding, it is still just such a great game that I only recently got into modded Minecraft, and even without modded Minecraft, these past years have still just kept me glued to the game every single year. I've never really left this game. It's something me and my friends always come back to. And one of the best parts to me is that you can do all this stuff with your best, closest friends. This game is just an experience like no other. Even though it's just a block game to most, to me it is just so much more. It's everything I could ever want in a video game plus more. I first got the game when I was about 10 years old, and I've never really stopped playing it since. It's something my friends and I don't think we'll ever really get bored of. We always come back to this blocky world and laugh, talk, craft, build, go on adventures, tell each other stories, and do whatever the hell we want. I can't express my love for this game enough. Much like New Vegas, I could talk about this game for hours and hours. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is why Minecraft is my favorite game of all time. All the games on this list have helped me through so damn much. They did what any great video game should do, especially the number one. They helped me escape into another world of adventure and allowed me to forget all the stress and struggles of the real world. To end this video off, I will go through some honorable mentions. These are just some of the games that I absolutely love but didn't make the list for one reason or another. It does not at all take away my love for these games. That's why I want to show some of them off in the honorable mentions. Some of these games will also most likely get their own videos in the future. So, without further ado, here are the honorable mentions. Halo 2, Halo CE, Doom Eternal, Stardew Valley, Dying Light, 7 Days to Die, Saints Row III, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, Titanfall 2, Pokemon Black and White 1 and 2, Life is Strange, Modern Warfare 2, Black Ops 2, Modern Warfare 2019, Super Mario 64, Sunshine, and New Super Mario Bros. 1 and 2, For the King, Unturned, and Unipop. Thank you so much if you watched this far, and if you haven't already, leave a comment, like, and subscribe. See ya!